Hey, everybody. I am Michael Coker, and I have a special treat. I'm here with the Mayor Pro Tem, Michael Rudnick, back by popular demand for another episode. And he's going to talk a little bit about what Mulberry's accomplished in year one and also what to expect in District 4. So if you'd like to get these updates, stick around and stay tuned. All right, everybody, like I mentioned, we have the Mayor Pro Tem here, Michael Rudnick, and we are super excited because he's going to give us a full outline of kind of what Mulberry's accomplished in year one, what is going on in District 4, what kind of any updates or things going on there. So first off, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming back. So first off, let's kind of talk. I know that we've just had the state of the city. We've kind of finished our first kind of calendar year as a city. And I think the public would really be interested in hearing it from your perspective, right? What has been the highlights? What have been the lowlights? What are some of the challenges facing the city? So let's just kind of start off generally. I mean, generally, what are kind of your initial takeaways from year one?
Well, like you said, it's been a whirlwind. The state of the city, I think, was pretty accurate in the fact of how much we have accomplished. It's been a tremendous year. We often use the phrase, we're building the plane as we're flying it, and now we're kind of patching holes as we're flying it. But to see where we've come from and to where we are is mind-blowing, to be honest with you. I tell a story of when we opened up City Hall and we had no furniture, we had no desks, we had no staff, we had no anything. We had a City Hall, an empty building, which was nice to have. I think it was January 5th or 6th, somewhere around that date. We didn't have any money. We didn't have anything. And, I went to go use the restroom and there was no toilet paper in the bathroom. And I thought to myself, I'm like, where do we get toilet paper? And, those are the things that you got to cross that bridge when you get to it. We didn't have a city credit card. We didn't have a city manager. So to come from there to being on our second city hall, to having a marshal's department, to having a city manager, to having a budget, to having different departments, to having different department heads. I mean, the things that we've accomplished have been tremendous. You look at everything that we've built up between the city manager, city staff, and city council and how well we've worked together. It's really been exciting to see the progress that we've made. And I think you highlighted that well during the state of the city and everything that we have accomplished. We've had some tremendous partners along the way. Certainly the state legislature did a great job for us informing the city and assisting us along the way. Our staff has done a tremendous job of working as hard as they possibly can to get everything done that needs to be done. And then the city council has really dug their heels in and made time for all the meetings and the decisions that needed to be made. So it's been a group effort. And I think a year in, I can honestly say we're a lot further than I thought we would be.
If you had to kind of pick one thing, okay, if there's one thing that you'd say you're most proud of, right? If you look back on this first year, the kind of the big moment, is there one that stands out that you say, you know what, that was a really cool moment. I'm really proud we were able to accomplish that. What would that be?
I think I'm going to cheat and I'm going to say two moments.
Okay.
One was when the marshal's department came to fruition and we had marshal cars and they were lettered and they were driving around the community. I remember it was Halloween and they came through my neighborhood. And how proud I was to see them just out in the community, interacting with different community members and how our chief was just driving around being seen and letting the community know that the marshal's department was out there. So I think that was one moment. And I think the second moment, maybe not been a specific moment in time, but just along the way of building up our bank account. And just seeing that grow. And again, I'll tell a quick little story of, I remember coming into City Hall nearly every day after I'd get off work. And one of my first questions would be, how much money is in the bank account? Because if we can't pay the bills, we're in trouble. And for the first probably 10 days, we had $5 in our bank account. And that was from a donation to make sure that the credit card reader worked from one of our staff members. And that slowly started to build up over time and to the point where we've got tremendous amount of reserves right now. And I think we've done a really good job of being fiscally conservative, as well as making sure that the money's spent in the right places, making sure that the council's approving the right amounts for different projects, and making sure that we've got those reserves in place as an emergency fund. As you pointed out, we've got 9.5 months worth of reserves. And I think GMA, you said, recommends 3 months worth of reserves. And so that's a tremendous kind of, asset to us as well.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more on the marshal. I mean, that is a really cool aspect of the city, and, just to reiterate that those vehicles were all donated to us. One thing that I've been really impressed with is how much cities look out for each other,
Mhm.
and I think City of Woodstock, right? I mean, they're over in Cherokee County, I mean, pretty far from us, but it was like, "Hey, we've got these extra cars. We appreciate what you guys are doing down there in Mulberry. We're gonna kind of donate these to you to make you help you get off the ground, help your marshal's department get off the ground." And I'm with you. I mean, seeing them driving around, I mean, what is important? We talk about it a lot, but what is important from a perception or a public safety standpoint in Mulberry might be different than other parts of the county or even, parts in Atlanta or other places. And so it's nice that we have that we can target certain things that are important to us of keeping the community looking nice, making sure there's no graffiti, making sure that, there's a presence of people driving around. So I couldn't agree with you more on that one. So we talked about what you're most proud of. What are maybe some challenges or maybe things that you didn't expect that kind of popped up as you kind of reflect on year one?
Yeah, so I'll hit on that in one second, but one thing I'll circle back to the Woodstock donation, and as some may or may not know, my day job is the fleet director for the city of Lawrenceville, and I'll tell you that those cars that they donated to us can absolutely be sold for a tremendous amount of money. They can be sold to another jurisdiction. Probably each vehicle is worth somewhere around $10,000. And these were fully upfitted vehicles that were ready to go. Granted, they were a little bit older, but that's what you get when you take a donation is you get kind of the hand-me-down vehicle, but they've served us wonderfully. In terms of what's been difficult, sometimes the pace of government is difficult. Sometimes the speed at which you want to get things done, and I've got a little bit more maybe experience in that world. We have to wait for council meetings at times to get things done. We have to wait for council meetings at times to make decisions. Sometimes we might have vendors waiting on us. Sometimes we might have contracts waiting on us. So this, again, the speed for myself, it may was not quite so difficult, but I think for some others on the council, for some other staff that maybe weren't used to it, the speed at which things are getting done, some might not be used to. And the private sector obviously works a lot faster. You have a project you like, or you have a contract you like, you go ahead and sign that contract. There's not a set of decision makers that need to approve that contract. So, obviously in our process, we've got to present it to the council. We only have meetings every 2 weeks. And so if something comes up immediately following one meeting, it's going to be a minimum of 2 weeks before the council can approve that and put that contract in place. And sometimes it's upwards of a month before that happens. So that speed at which government moves, and I think that speed is purposeful because it safeguards hasty decisions and make sure that decisions are thoroughly looked at. We learned that in council member school, and you learn that as you move through local government, is that the more time you have, the more time you have to think about things. And I'll say that when we have more time, some decisions may have changed. You maybe initially have one thought, and then a week goes by, and we say, I thought about it a little bit more, and maybe we're going to go a different direction with this. So that time is a benefit as well as can be a challenge as well.
I agree. I'd say I was probably in the camp of did not understand why government moves slower, right? I mean, you hear often people, it's an easy complaint, right? Oh, it's government bureaucracy. It takes too long. And I'm sure there is absolutely some of that, right? I mean, let's be real. But there are a lot of safeguards in place that things like, you have to get a certain number of bids for a purchase, right? Because every dollar for that's public funds and every dollar matters. And so, yeah, it might take more time to get 3 bids or to bring it to the council and have all 5 of us, go through every detail of the contract. But it happens for a reason. And like you said, it's really to protect the public. So I agree 100% with that.
And I'll throw on there, it's important for us as a council, and which I know we do, to look through those contracts to make sure we know what we're approving, because ultimately we're the final decision makers and we're the ones that are going to approve that contract. And if something goes awry or sideways with that contract, it's going to fall upon our shoulders.
I couldn't agree more. Well, obviously, we all know that one of the primary purposes that Mulberry was created was for planning and zoning decisions, right? And obviously, we're seeing a lot of development all around us. Most of it, if not all of it, was approved prior to Mulberry being created. But can you talk a little bit about the steps maybe that were taken in year one to, establish a planning commission, a ZBA, kind of how they work together? If you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, those are some of the additional steps. If I could make a 1A of proud accomplishments, it would be the fact that we set up these boards. We set up a planning commission. Each council member got to appoint one planning commission member. We set up a zoning board of appeals, which each council member again got set to appoint one ZBA appointee. We've had multiple planning commission meetings. So I was talking to someone the other day and said that, I was surprised that our council is 15 months in existence and we haven't heard a zoning case yet. I don't necessarily know the reason why that is, but I think our planning commission is doing a tremendous job of making sure that the applications that are coming through them are well vetted, are well thought about, are well discussed. And they're doing a really nice job of making sure that they're communicating with staff and they're communicating with applicants if need be during public meetings and asking the right questions about the vision of Mulberry. And just this past weekend, the retreat was something that all those staffs got to get together and talk about the vision for the future and what that's going to look like. So I think all those staffs working in conjunction with each other have done a really, really nice job of making sure that that vision for the city of Mulberry, which is why we were founded, why we began, is coming to fruition. It's neat to see the ideas start as an idea and then work their way to paper and then eventually work their way to the community.
And you mentioned the retreat. Obviously, we talked a lot about at that retreat how even though we are one city and our vision remains the same, we do have individual districts and individual pockets. And there's really a different feel in each of those districts. I mean, I'm District 2. I have Mill Creek High School. We're very residential. We have a lot of residential neighborhoods, young families raising their kids. Let's talk a little bit about your district, District 4, right? Because you, in addition to serving as the mayor pro tem, you also represent this District 4. Can you talk a little bit about that district? First off, for those that may not know, what is District 4? What does it encompass? And then kind of how the character of that particular district.
Yeah, so District 4 encompasses the east side of Brazelton Highway from the county line down to Jim Moore Road. And that's kind of one of the borders. I guess that's technically three of the borders, and goes all the way out to connect with District 5, which is close to the corner of Fence and Mineral Springs in that area. So we have Little Mulberry Park, which is a tremendous asset to our district, and I'm very proud to have that in our district. We also have the district that is probably, between us and District 5, is the most rural and has the most large lots existing in that district. And so that's the feel that we're going for in District 4, is that large estate lot type feel and making it something that we continue to build upon. It's funny, I haven't even talked to you about this, but I was thinking last night, I have no idea how this would fit, if there's even enough land, but I think something really cool would be like a municipal golf course. And, it's a city-run golf course that may be slightly less expensive than something like the Hamilton Mill course. But again, I have no idea how much land that would take. I have no idea how much money that would take. That's really just a pie in the sky idea. And talking to you and your district and the sidewalk network that you talked about, I think being on the other side of Brazelton Highway 124, that's really important to my district as well, is making sure that we've got that connectivity. We've got two main thoroughfares, Brazelton Highway and Hog Mountain Road, that cut through our district, and to be able to move throughout those areas is important. I would love to connect from the county line all the way down to Hamilton Mill Road with golf cart sidewalks. I think that would be tremendous, and I think that's a vision that we can have collectively together to really move forward and to think about and see what that's going to take to make happen.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more on that. I mean, obviously we have this crown jewel of Mulberry Park, right? And if we could connect these neighborhoods that we have to the park, to some of these, commercial center areas, obviously traffic's a major issue in our city, right? And so if instead of maybe jumping in your car and driving your kid to school or driving to the park or a commercial center, you could hop in a golf cart or ride a bike. I mean, those are things that help the traffic issue without spending $1 on roads, right? So I think those are definitely interesting things that we could take a look at and improve within the city, is this kind of trail network of paths and cart paths and bike lanes and whatever, so that we can expand that for people who want to. So I couldn't agree more. All right. Well, as we kind of come to a wrap, is there anything else about year one that you're like, hey, this is something that I really want to highlight or something I'm really proud of?
I just want to say thank you to the constituents. I really, truly feel like I've had tremendous support throughout this first year. I've had people come to me with great ideas. I hope I've done a great job of responding to constituents when they've needed us. I know we've had some bumps along the way, some projects that maybe are looking to take place and haven't happened yet, but I think we've been up on the communication and making sure that we're communicating that to the constituency. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that's helped along the way, because not only all the people that I mentioned before, the city staff and the city council and all the different boards that we have, but our constituents have done a tremendous job of making sure that they give the ideas. And one last thing I'll give a plug to is the UDO meetings that we have coming up. Those are on April the
First one is April the 14th at City Hall, 6 p.m.
Yep, April 14th, City Hall, 6 p.m. We really, truly need community input at those meetings. This is the community's opportunity to come and say what they think their vision of the city is and to get their input be heard. And I will encourage everyone to show up to those meetings. There'll be multiple of them over the next 6 months to have your ideas and thoughts heard. But if you have a different idea than myself for District 4, or if you have a similar idea, either way, please come have your voice be heard and make sure that you get your input on the record as well.
Yeah, I agree. This is a great opportunity for everybody out there to kind of put your fingerprint on the city, right? What does the plan look like? What's the future look like? What priorities are most important to you? So I agree. Definitely come to one or all of those meetings if you can. Well, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I appreciate you being here. Obviously, that was great information about year one, about District 4. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sure. My cell phone number is 770-355-0477. You can reach me anytime you need me. My email address is Michael, M-I-C-H-A-E-L .Rudnick, R-U-D-N-I-C-K @mulberryga.gov. Cell phone is obviously faster. Call me, text me. But if you need to email me, I'll certainly respond via email as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Well, and if you guys out there like getting these updates, learning more about what's going on in Mulberry, learning about our comprehensive plan and what the future map of the city is going to look like, obviously like and subscribe to this podcast. I'll keep these updates coming out. And until next time, everyone stay safe and thanks for watching.